It says we're live. Oh, no, we are actually live now. Yep, we're live. Okay, all right, good stuff. Okay, everybody at home, thank you for joining us here. We obviously, as advertised, we've got a talk in with former Sunderland legend Darren Williams. My name's Derek Aspinall, or Degsy. I'm the current president of the Sons of Liberty Sunderland AFC supporters group here in the USA. And obviously, we've been trying to do a lot to keep you guys engaged in football, obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic. Just trying to make sure you're connected as fans and with the club. Part of that is to actually have Darren on with us today. So we're already seeing some comments coming across from Paulie. I'll probably not be able to repeat half of them. But just just before we go into any of those questions and what have you, what I'd like to do is when you ask a question, if you could just tell us where you're from, and then obviously ask the question. Along with that, there is a little bit of a time delay between us recording this and it going live on Facebook. So if there's a lag or if we miss one of your questions, I apologize in advance. But anyway, firstly, Darren, thanks very much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Just a little bit of a background on Darren, for those that don't know his full history. Darren began his career at York City. He played in their famous 3-0 triumph over Manchester United at Old Trafford in the League Cup in 1995. I know he doesn't look that old, but he is. He actually he followed Chris Tate from the Minstermen and joined Peter Reid's Sunderland in October 1996. And he was coming into a team with the likes of Bracewell, Kevin Ball, Alex Ray, Niall Quinn, Martin Smith, Chrissy Waddle, and Magic Alan Johnson. Yeah, some good players there, mate. Paul Stewart as well. Yes, Paul Stewart, aye. And you played in what was the final ever season at Roker Park. His first goal would come in an away match against Leicester City, but by far and away his most memorable was the winner against his hometown club, Middlesbrough, in 1997, which effectively relegated the Teessiders. He experienced two... Oh, look at that! As if by magic. That looks like the T-shirt we got made for the year. That's beautiful, that, man. What are you saying? You giving that away? Are you giving it away to the best question? So... there is some bad news, though. He did experience 2 relegations with Sunderland, but he did play a massive part in the record-breaking title win and an astonishing playoff final, which Sunderland were beaten by Charlton 7-6 on penalties. Don't ask him about Mickey Gray's penalty after a 4 draw in regular play time. During his time with the Black Cats, Darren will go on to represent England at under 21 and B levels. After Sunderland, Darren went on to play for Cardiff City, Hartlepool United, and Bradford City, before moving north to play with Alex Ray at Dundee. And then he returned to the UK and he finished his career in the lower leagues representing Gateshead, Gainsborough and Whitby Town. And the lad he would go on to manage. Of the 420 plus appearances he made during a 20-year career, over 250 of them for the Black Cats, 108 of which were in the Premier League. And I go out and say that Darren will always be remembered as a player who gave nothing less than 100%. Now, I know you can't hear the applause, Darren, but I'm sure everybody's going nuts at home right now. So thank you for your service to the club. As I said, you left us with a lot of good memories, which is brilliant. So
good. No,
I'm going to go on.
Fantastic.
I'm going to go and ask a couple of questions now just to get it all kicked off. Peter Reid signed you from York, and obviously you were recognised for your versatility. So I mentioned before you played 250 games for the Black Cats. And of that, I think you were deployed in at least 6 of the 10 outfield playing positions. What was your preferred position to play on the field?
I think I preferred playing centre half, to be quite honest. I mean, I know I wasn't the tallest of people, but I had a pretty decent leap on me. I could compete in the air. I could read the game pretty well. Me and Jody obviously formed a great partnership back there, which was thankfully to the ideas of obviously Bobby Saxton and Peter Reid, really.
And what do you think made the partnership between you and Jody be so successful?
I don't know. I mean, when Jody joined the club, we became really good friends. We kind of lived down the road from each other. We travelled in together every day. On away trips, obviously we'd room together. There was none of that going on, by the way. It was just.
Are you sure? Paulie's brother Steve's been on here asking lots of questions about that. We're not going to ask you any of those, unfortunately. But he was asking if there was anything else going on that you could talk about. Let's just ignore them ones. And Jesus. So again, I mentioned before, we signed you from York. How did you find the transition moving from York into what was obviously a bigger club? I mean, was it easy, or was it difficult for you to make that step up in the grade and obviously expectations?
I think obviously I think the grade was a bit of a jump. From a fitness point of view, I was I kind of kept myself extremely fit while I was at York. In the back of my mind, I was looking for to progress and move higher. And then like I say, for me, the move came about, and it was weird really, to be quite honest, because I'd fell out with a manager, Alan Little, at York at the time, and he was absolutely all over me. Like, he had me in training on my own. He gave me some set balls and some corners, told me to go over the far side of the pitch and train on my own. I was travelling in on my own, and then weirdly enough, he kind of slaughtered me one day with the chairman in the office. Said I wouldn't go anywhere, wouldn't amount to anything. Nobody inquired about me. No, no, this is your level and this is where you'll stay. And then I was travelling in one day, my phone rang. And at the time, obviously, I'm not thinking anything because, the managers told me that there's nobody interested. So the voice on the other phone, hey, is this Darren Williams? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, hey, it's Paul Bracewell from Sunderland. So I kind of turned around and said, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Are you kidding me? So I thought it was one of the lads, like from the training ground. So I said, yeah. I said, so when I get in here, I said, I'm going to absolutely batter you all over the training pitch. Anyway, so I put the phone down. So anyway, he rings back again. Hey, it's Paul Bracewell. I went, look, I said, stop winding me up. I said, I'm fuming. I said, I'm about 5 minutes from the ground now. Just put the phone down again. 30 seconds after that, my mum rings. So my mum rings it. Daz, make sure you got your phone on. Paul Bracewell's going to ring you from Sunderland. I was like, shit. So fortunately enough, Paul Bracewell was really patient with me. So obviously I rang the number back, and he picked up the phone. And he went, "It's a good job I'm a patient man, isn't it?" And basically, I could have probably screwed the deal up for myself, really.
Class. So you mentioned Brace. Obviously, I mean, you played alongside some absolutely fantastic players throughout your career. And I know that a lot of questions you often get asked this, but who was the best Sunderland player you played alongside with, and why?
I mean, obviously, me and Jody had a great partnership, and we formed a great partnership. So I would say that that was one of the best kind of players I played alongside. But I've got to put in Claudio Reyna as well. Claudio Reyna was fantastic. So composed on the ball. I think the way he was in the game, the way he came across in the game, he settled you down as well. So obviously, if I was going into a game like, nervous if we were at Old Trafford or somewhere, which we did play alongside each other at Old Trafford against Keane and Scholes, and we kind of we had a right game against them, to be quite honest. And even though we lost the game, I think 2-1. When we finished the game, there was a lot of people coming up to you saying, you two were fantastic in there today. But I think he just had that calming influence on you when you played alongside him.
That's I've got a few. Stephen Williams. I'm going to go off the sidetrack here. Stephen Paulie's brother said, "Well, what's the best Parmo you've had?"
One way I live, the stables do a nice Parmo. Yeah, it's really nice.
And Paulie wants to know if you miss him or not.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do miss her. Yeah,
you can't miss him. To be fair. Saying now, what did Dex say? Why is Dazzler using the soft porn focus mode on his camera? Who knows? It's the best side of him, Deck. It's the best side. Yeah, exactly. So again, you didn't just mention Reyna because the American lads are on here, did you? I mean, you're not like, I'm just saying.
No, I wouldn't have done that at all. No.
Whatever. So who's the overall best player you played alongside? You mentioned Reyna, but because again, I mean, we mentioned before about, I mean, some of the players you've had in the team. I'd go back to, I think Brace was a solid player when I was watching him as a kid. I think about you mentioned Reyna. You've got some other lads obviously playing at the back. I just watched the Newcastle game. Emerson Toman there. He was a phenomenal player until obviously he got wrecked a bit, like Quinny, Summerby. Making all the lads that you've. So who would you rate as the best player by far you played on the same team?
I think I think everyone will kind of focus on obviously like Kev Phillips. He'd be a fantastic goal scorer. that guy could score from anywhere really. And I suppose obviously when he first came to the club, to be quite honest, the first couple of training sessions that he had at the club, weren't great, to be honest. And you're kind of like looking and thinking, well, hang on a second, like, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden he just took off. Like I don't know what it was, but he just took off, and he was absolutely fantastic. But then I look on the other side of things. Niall Quinn. As much as obviously he had back issues and this and the other. I mean, that guy was so clever. He found himself space. He was in a downstairs cupboard. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. But he was so clever, and I think his experience as well. Was fantastic. And then you go on the other end of the scale. You've got Kevin Ball. Do you know what I mean? Wholeheartedly, him doing a tackle on the halfway line would get more of a cheer than Kev Phillips going, from 180 yard box to the other. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so you look at you put all them players together. Nicky Summerby, fantastic. Give him half a yard, and he'll put it on a 10 pence piece for you.
Yeah.
So I think looking back, I think I've got to look at Niall Quinn, because I think as much as he wasn't the most mobile person in the world, but he was very, very clever. And he had phenomenal feet. Like I say, we've seen it many times. Him pulling off, chesting it, and just looping it in the far corner. Do you know what I mean? That takes not only composure but a lot of skill as well.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple more questions coming in from the lads here as well. I'll try and pick some sensible ones out, which only leaves us with one, I think. Hold on. We've got another. Does Darren Holloway work in Burger King? Apparently.
That was currently at a college. He works at a college doing the head of sport at the college. And he's also obviously assistant manager at Darlington now.
Right. And the other question was, who's the shortest adult you've ever met, not including Dexy? And my dad's put on there, and don't say his dad either.
There was this little strange fellow. There was this little strange fellow who turned up at the training ground one day, called Milton Nunes. He was one of the tallest guys I've met.
Am I taller than him?
Yeah, definitely.
I am. Get it in.
Yeah, he was
tiny. Have it. Have it. My dad says that you look like you're about to have a Turkish shave, whatever that is. Is that some sort of sexual innuendo? It will be for me, dad. I'm not going to tell you what Paulie said. Anyway, so I mentioned before, 420 career appearances, and obviously you faced many players. Can you tell us who was the best opposing player you faced?
I mean, obviously, I've come, not literally come across, but I've played against.
Oh, you're going to get censored on Facebook here. We might.
But obviously, I've played against some phenomenal players. Thierry Henry, Scholes, Beckham, Giggs, Ronaldo, Zola. But for me, Solskjaer was a great player. He was a very clever player. Probably pretty much along the same lines as Niall Quinn, really. He was quite switched on. Could find space. I can't remember. I lost him once at Old Trafford. I lost him. I'm just getting a refreshment.
Is that from your missus?
Yeah.
Where's mine?
Eh?
Where's mine? I'm drinking a cup of tea.
Yeah, I lost him once at Old Trafford, and I remember turning around and looking and thinking, "Oh my God, he was through." I went to play obviously a back pass. I mean, you guys will have probably seen it, and when you don't catch the ball right, and I think, "Oh no, this is not good." So I end up sprinting back 100 mile an hour, and Solskjaer threw one goal with Thomas Sorensen. I think, "Oh my God!" And all that's going through my mind is not about him scoring; it's about what Peter Reid's going to do at half time. So I managed to get back. So he goes around Thomas Sorensen. I think I'm back now. I can defend this. And he literally just stepped past me and just tapped it in. And I thought, what? I've just ran 60 yards down, blowing out my backside for no reason.
Get it in. So if he's the best, then well, it's similar to the best opposing player. Who's a player that you would dread facing? Because obviously there's some nasty bastards out there. So it was a player that you didn't like playing against.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I played against Vinnie Jones, and he obviously he was a nasty guy in the pitch, but such a great guy off the pitch. But again, we competed really well. I remember Wimbledon away, and I smashed him on the halfway line, and I expected him to get up and have a right go at me. But he actually pulled me up off the ground and just went, "Great tackle, son." And that
Nice.
just ran off, and I'm just thinking, wow, if he'd have done that to me, I'd have wanted to kill him. You know what I mean? But yeah, Robbie Savage, came across as if he was a bit of a nasty man. But I think he was just dirty. He couldn't tackle anyway, to be quite honest. His hair used to get in his eyes. But no, along those lines, Kevin Ball was, one of the best for it. He was absolutely, crazy. Some of his tackles, absolutely sublime. Don't get me wrong, they were brilliant. Obviously not that one he did for Burnley. That was just.
Oh, what was nasty that like?
Mistimed that one. Mistimed and got missed height. I think the lad still got a footprint on his chest.
He has. That was shocking.
Yeah, Bally surprised me. I remember the first couple of training sessions we had, and we do like a keep ball, so a circle and put two in the middle. And I remember somebody played me a short pass, and I'm thinking, I'll just nick this around the corner to someone else. And Bally just wiped me out. And I remember him turning around and saying to me, "I told you to wear your shin pads for training, son."
Well, this is a good opportunity for us to plug something as well. While doing that, we've actually managed to, or Borley's confirmed that he's coming over for our Solic, which is the Sons of Liberty Independence celebration. So we're actually having that in 2021 in Phoenix, Arizona. Borley's confirmed for next year, which is superb. I've no doubt you'll tell us some stories about you and all, about you not wearing your shin guards. I'm sure. I'm sure. So class, man. That's class. Wait, here's some other questions, kind of a little bit not on the playing side, but more about the football grounds and the stadiums you played in. What's the worst and best grounds that you've played in?
I think for hostility, I think Millwall was a really bad one. Their fans were really, really bad. Abuse from the moment go. As you go back, don't you? Filbert Street obviously wasn't a fantastic place to go. But then if I go down the lower end of the scale, you've got your Accrington Stanleys and places like that. Where in Blackpool, for instance, Blackpool's a pitch where you normally take your bucket in the spade with you, just to make some sandcastles. Yeah, there was but then again, there was some fantastic places. You go to likes of, Highbury at the time. Highbury's pitch was just immense. It was just like a carpet. And, if you go back to Old Trafford years ago, the pitch was horrendous. It was awful. Whereas now they've spent so much money on the pitch. Now, they obviously all the water they use on the pitch, they reuse again. So it all filters underneath the stand, and they've got big containers in there, and they reuse all the water that they're doing. I think they've spent about £1 million on their pitch. I think they were saying, and that now is is unbelievable. But go back years ago, you're splodging around in mud come Christmas time.
Yeah. Well, Stephen Meerman from Atlanta's asking, when you mentioned Millwall, was it the old Den or the new Den you were talking about?
No, the old Den. Yeah, the old Den. I don't think I played at the new Den, to be quite honest, but it was the old Den. Yeah, so it wasn't fantastic.
Okay. And Paulie wants to know if you've got your full kit on underneath your top.
Got my birthday suit on, Paulie.
Oh, Paul. No, I'm saying now. You managed to play at both Roker Park and the Stadium of Light. Which stadium did you prefer and why?
Obviously, I wasn't as long at the at Roker Park, so I probably didn't have as much of a connection with it. But it was a fantastic stadium. The pitch was unbelievable. The atmosphere was still was fantastic. Obviously everyone goes on about the Roker Raw, and it was. But for me, obviously, I spent a lot more time at the Stadium of Light. I think obviously the way the club evolved and developed, the Stadium of Light. When we had that packed out, and we were doing really well in the Premier League. There was no better place to play there.
Yeah.
You come out the dressing room. I'm talking now, and the hairs on the back of the neck are standing up because I can remember coming out the tunnel. I can you can visit it. I can still remember the actual Raw, and it literally, because of the far side of the tunnel. Obviously, they seen you first, the fans, and you heard the noise just go around the stadium. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you got to the end of that tunnel, it was just unbelievable. you wanted to kill, I'd have killed my mother for it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how it got you.
It's a bit harsh, that.
It just got you. I'd have tackled my mother on the halfway line. You know what I mean? It's just like...
Did it put any ideas in our head? Next week we'll have Darren tackling his mum on the halfway line. Get in.
I'd have to be 2 meters away.
You'd still miss. Get out. So I'm putting here, ironically, so today we had a screening of the Newcastle game. So I'm putting here, beating the Scum at St James's Park, playing in the best ever final at Grace Wembley Stadium, promotion to the Premier League as a record point-setting champions, 2 consecutive 7th places in the Premier League, your goal against Borough, all memorable moments for us supporters. But what was your most memorable moment as a Sunderland player?
I mean, we talked about the playoff final. It was such a massive experience for us guys. I mean, we had a quite young side then. Like myself, Jody Craddock, Daz Holloway, Paul Flair. We had a lot of young lads, in and about the squad in the first 11. So from that point of view, that was a great experience. Although the result wasn't, what we wanted, but turned out to be probably the best that we could have happened, really, because I think obviously if we had gone up that year, we'd probably come straight back down. So I don't think we were prepared and ready for the Premier League. We talked about the beating Newcastle, on their ground 2-1, twice. I mean, that was fantastic. Obviously, Shearer missing a penalty and me laughing at it. I mean, so they're all good memories. Do you know what I mean? And but I think because it was so early in my Sunderland career, obviously scoring against Middlesbrough, and it was such a vital time of the season as well, because obviously we were both fighting relegation. For me, that was just, it was fantastic. I mean, I didn't expect to score. I was never an out-and-out scorer. I shouldn't have even been in the box, to be quite honest. But it was just fantastic. That obviously, I got that goal, albeit against my hometown club.
Class, mate. How come he didn't take a penalty in the playoff final?
Oh, don't get me started on this one. Well.
Did your arse go and he didn't want to take one? Your arse went in it and you were like, Mickey.
No, I was happy to take one. I was like, yeah, Sacco, I'll take one. And he was like, right, no problem. So Sacco obviously did the order, so obviously we had the penalty takers who were, mainly the confident ones who loved taking penalties and would take penalties. And then obviously I was like, yeah, I'll take one, yeah. So obviously Sacco stuck my name down, and then Mickey Gray said after me, yeah, I'll take one. So I was like, right, okay. So obviously I knew in my mind, the order was going in. So I was like, right, okay. Once so-and-so took the penalty, I'm next. So like I said, so it got to my penalty, and then Mickey went, oh, I'll take it. And I was like, well, it's me. And he went, no, I'll take this one. I'm feeling really confident. If only I'd have known, eh? If only I'd have known.
Hindsight and all that. Jesus Christ.
Oh, mate, hindsight, yeah. I think there's a couple of pictures, and if you see, I'm in the background giving them a dirty look.
Oh, I've seen them. I think you're next to Niall Quinn, or Bawley, one of the two.
Yeah.
Bawley was giving him some daggers. Aye. I'm keeping my hair out of my eyes with my hat. I'm just leaving it like that. Shh. I'm not bald under here now. It's all good. So speaking about Sacco and obviously managers, Peter Reid. So you've worked with the likes of Peter Reid, McCarthy, Howard Wilkinson, Lenny Lawrence, Danny Wilson, Stuart McCall, even Martin Scott. So who was the best manager you've played under and why?
I think, Peter Reid was, my best manager I probably played under. And that had nothing to do with him, obviously, getting me to Sunderland or bringing me to Sunderland. And it was just how he was. Obviously, back then it was a massive drinking culture. But we all got together. It was like a team spirit, and he was a great man manager. Bobby Saxon was a tactician. His mind was just, his mind boggled me. I mean, when he asked me to play centre half, he said, when did you last play centre half? I said I was about 10, Bobby. Like, all right, no problem. He said, I'm going to put you there. We're going to put you and Jody down. And I went, all right, Bobby, no worries, mate. I was thinking Gloucester plot then.
Class.
But no, I mean, for me, Peter Reid was fantastic. I mean, we'd go on days away, like, but he always got us up the next day. He always trained us, and then he'd just give us freedom to go and do what we wanted, So 9 times out of 10 we'd go to the pub. We'd get absolutely smashed, but the next day we'd have to be up and train.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the way he was, because he knew, like, we'd all go together, we'd all come home together, we'd all start training together. You know, we all just got everything we did was together, and I think we got such a team morale together, and obviously everybody was like best of mates. That it just worked, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was times we went away for 4 or 5 days, on the drink, but we'd always train the next day. And, I remember once when we went to this bar, and it was an Irish bar, so Quinny was obviously in his element. And behind the bar there was a big list of stuff, and it started off with like, I don't know, something like a sticker, and then it went to a pin, and then a badge, and then it just worked its way up to like a T-shirt, and all it was a Guinness T-shirt. But Quinny had this idea that I'm gonna get that T-shirt. I can't remember now. It was something like 15, 20 pints of Guinness. And we were all like, Quinny, give over, man. There's no way on earth you're gonna drink that, man. You know, like I have a couple of pints of Guinness, and it's like a meal. Do you know what I mean? That's it, I'm full. So we're in there. So anyway, it's getting a bit later. So we all said, I tell you what, we'll all go back to the hotel. We'll all get changed, and then we'll go out later on as well. So we're like, right, no worries. So we all sorted back to the hotel. We all get changed. We all met down in the lobby way. So we're all sat down there. We're all like, where's Quinny? I was like, I don't know. Like, last time I seen him was in that Irish bar. So anyway, so we're like, oh, we'll head over and see if he's there. I was like, everyone was like, it's not still going to be there. So we goes in, and Quinny's slumped in the corner on the stool, and he's got a sticker, a pin, a badge, a cap.
Did he have the T-shirt on?
And the bar, as we walked in, the barman's like, Quinny's just finishing his last pint. Barman's coming over and went, there you go, mate, give him the T-shirt.
That's class. So of course, I meant. Go on, sorry.
The best bit is though, we're training the next day, so we goes out. So Larry, the bus driver, sat there, and Larry looks like somebody just dug Larry up. He's grey. He sat slumped over the steering wheel. I'm like, Larry, you all right? He went, oh, Jazz. He went, I'm dying from last night. He went, I've had too much. Like I was like, oh, Jesus. I went, Larry, you've got to go training, man. So it's like a scene from Baywatch. Quinny comes marching around the corner like this with his training gear on, like a spring chicken, like as if he hasn't had 20 pints of Guinness the night before. And he's gone, oh, what's up with you, Larry? Larry's like, you're dying, Quinny. He went, get out that seat, I'll drive us to training.
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's class. Well, you mentioned about drinking and that. We've got a lad called Jason who is up in Portland, and he's asking what your favourite Sunderland pubs were back in the day.
Do you know what? I didn't really venture out much in Sunderland. I went to Idols and places like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the other one was on the. I can't remember. It was on the corner, right in the corner.
Annabelle's.
Annabelle's, yeah. Yeah, we went there. We went there a few times, but we didn't really venture out. Do you know what? We ventured out more in Newcastle than we did in Sunderland.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I don't know why, but we did.
I used to bump into you a lot in Durham occasionally as well.
Yeah. We used to go on the Shakespeare and that.
I remember one time seeing Mickey Gray take a piss in the middle of the pub in a plant pot. Scruffy little shit.
Yeah.
He had nice hair though.
Mickey Gray, was he still awake or not?
Just. So I'll go back to the manager's thing here as well. There's a couple of comments in, some I can't read about Howard Wilkinson. But it was basically the question: how bad or how good was Howard Wilkinson? I actually met Howard when I did my level 2 FA coaching badge, and he was to me he was quite a good coach, and he was a good leader for me when I was doing the course. But what was he like as a manager?
He was he was absolute top draw.
All right, his record speaks for itself.
No,
then.
I mean, obviously, you have respect for the guy because he done well, previously with the club he's been at, and obviously he was highly thought of, so you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, really. But I kind of lost that about day 2 with him, so it didn't really take that long. But he's turned up. He's trying to implement psychology into the lads. So we kind of ended up going to the Stadium of Light, in one of the rooms upstairs and doing psychology 4 days a week. So we were like proper weed. We were hardly training at all. So he got these guys in anyway, and we all sat around the table. So we tables of 5, 6. We all sat around the table, and in front of us, they give us a bag of pennies, and if you had a bad thought, you had to put a penny in the pot. So basically, Mrs. walked out. She's like, I tell her this every night.
Christ. Are you sure it wasn't David Brent who was managing you? That bloke of the office. Put a penny in the jar. Go on, sorry.
So anyway, so I'm pop. So I get to 5 minutes in and I empties a full bag of pennies in the pot. So this guy comes sprinting over from the far side of the room and he's in my face. He's going, "Why did you do that?" I went, "Because I don't really agree with this, mate." And he was like, "What do you mean you don't agree with it?" I said, "Well, can I be honest?" He went, "Yeah." I said, "It's crap." And he went, "What do you mean it's crap?" He went, "Well," I went, "How is it?" I went, "This is not going to help us, is it?" I went, "Well, we sat in a room. I went doing psychology, talking about stuff. It's not going to help us on the pitch, is it?" He went, "I'll tell you what, son." He said, "Do me a favour." I went, "All right." I said, "Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt." He went, "Visualise this." He went, "You're out there. You're playing Man United. The Stadium of Light." He went, "It's packed out. There's not a seat left." He went, "You get the ball on the halfway line." He went, "Go past 4 or 5 players and you stick it in the top corner." I went, "Mate, if I could do that, I would not be at this club."
That's fair point. Going back to the drinking part, Steve Meeman's asking if Mickey Gray was any good at drinking.
No, Mickey was the worst drinker ever. We went to Iron Apple once. Going back when I first joined Sunderland at the end of the season. It was just it wasn't the whole team. It was just 5 or 6 of the lads. So we'd all decided we were going to go on a lads' holiday. So we went to Iron Apple. We goes out drinking all day, and we're in this bar, and then Mickey's kind of fell asleep. And one of the lads needed the toilet, but like the toilets were like miles away. So Mickey's glass was empty, so he kind of like peed in the glass and put it back on the table in front of Mickey. So we had these guys who were proper abusing Mickey through the window, and we were like, "Oh, just leave it, mate. Like he's asleep. Do you know what I mean? Just leave him, mate." And then it was like proper like shouting, "Oh, can't he handle his drink?" Like that. And we were like, "What do you mean, can't he handle his drink?" And we were like, "Oh, fancy leaving a pint there like that?" And the bloke opened the window. He went, "Give us it here." And I was like, "Oh no, mate, no, you don't want that, mate." I went, "It's warm, it's warm." He went, "Give us it here like that." And he took it. I swear to God, he downed that pint. We picked Mickey up and got out there as soon as we could.
I'm not surprised. God's class. Good old Mickey Gray. I've got a question here from Mick Hudspeth. He's asked as well. I think I could be wrong. I think he scored 5 goals for Sunderland, 5 or 6. What was your favourite goal? I know you're going to say the Borough one. You have to. But what was other than the Borough goal? What was your favourite goal?
I mean, I enjoyed my first goal at Leicester away.
Mm-hmm.
I call it a left foot volley from the edge of the box.
Why? No. I think you shinned it in, didn't you, from about 2 yards?
It hit me shin, yeah.
Why?
Hit me shin and went in the bottom corner.
Brilliant. So it was a canny goal.
I did like the one I scored against Bury in the cup.
The header.
Got it on the halfway line and played a 1-2 with Bally. Bally's played us in behind, and I was up against my old teammate Dean Carley, who was a goalkeeper of Bury at the time.
All right.
And I dinked it over him with the outside of my right foot. And obviously at half time when we were coming off, I was walking up and Dean Carley like tapped me on the shoulder, and he went, "Was that you?" I was like, "Yeah." He went, "You've never done any of that at York." He's like, "Where's that come from?" I said it hit a divot.
The divot, aye. There wasn't one, but there is one there now. Something like that. So go again. Some of the history. Looking back, 99. You obviously won the old Division 1 there to push back the Premier League. You mentioned before that you thought that actually losing in the playoff final that year was better for us. So that specific season, the season after when we went up, what was your favourite memories of that season, winning the championship by that record number of points?
I think it was just for me. What stands out was the fans. The fans were just absolutely mental all season. Even away. I know we still get it now. The fans are just phenomenal. But all that season, all the way through from start to finish, and I think they kind of grasped what we were seeing after the playoff final. This is a massive learning curve for us, and we will next year go on and and not walk the league. But I know we did. But like we would we would be like kind of more or less unstoppable. You know, we will win the league. I think we had that confidence, but not as an arrogance or anything. You know, just as a confident, quietly confident. You know, and if we went to go down in those games, you know, we didn't worry. You know, because we knew that we had a team spirit and a team morale that wouldn't give up. You know, until until we were actually leaving the pitch. But it was just the raw. You know, it was week in, week out. You know, they got behind it. It was massive. I actually played that season with getting injections all season through until towards the end. I think it was just before the Barnsley game away, and I went in from the operation. It really allowed me to go in from the operation because we'd obviously secured promotion.
Yeah.
But I played that whole season getting injections in the groin.
Mental. So from a personal standpoint, so as a player, when you were starting off, where did you like draw your inspiration from?
I mean, obviously, I used to watch players from years back. Obviously, Gaza. You know, Gaza was a great player back in those days. You know, he was something. You know, he was a player to watch. Weirdly enough, as well, sounds weird, but Lothar Matthäus, the German captain. You know, I used to, I look at him and watch him, and I think he had a similar type thing. He was midfield at one point. You know, he went to centre half. You know, back there as well. You know, because he could read the game really well. You know, I would just kind of watch players like that and just think, well, you know, that's what I want to be. You know, that's where I want to be. Obviously, I didn't hit probably the heights of those guys. Obviously, I didn't. But you know, I got to where I wanted to get. You know, and then I probably went beyond that really. You know, taking the field in for England B, you know, with the likes of Matt Letizia and you know people like that. You know, was just phenomenal. I mean, that guy did. We won that game against Russia 3-0, and that guy didn't break sweat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, absolutely frightening. I mean, you know, Les Ferdinand was in that side as well. You know Big Les. Literally Big Les.
Oh, he's a big lad, for sure.
That's the first time I've been to Tazi.
How long? My dad's just sent in a message to you saying, tell him his can will be getting warm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's been in the freezer.
Oh, it must have been, It must have been. Let's look at other than Sunderland, which club would you like wanted to play for? I know you played for a few, but which would you, other than Sunderland?
You know, yeah, it's a good. Probably someone like Liverpool, to be quite honest. You know, I think you know I've liked Liverpool for years. You know, and obviously, you know, the way they are like now is just like it's brilliant. You know, they've got a fantastic side. But yeah, somewhere you know, again, I don't know why there's that connection with Liverpool, but you know, it just is. I mean, obviously they were brilliant years back. It's probably from watching them on the telly and seeing how well they've done. Obviously they were European champions and years and years back. So looking at that, you think you'd love to be part of something like that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, so do you watch any of the sub? Hang on, come here. There's Mr. Darren. Look, we just got a guest. Can you say hi?
Oh, yeah, right.
Let's say hi. Hi. All right, now go. See ya.
Okay.
She's off. So, which of the current Sunderland squad do you enjoy watching? Is any players that play for the team who you admire the current squad and that you think they're half decent? Anyone stand out for you?
Yeah, I had a lot. I mean, I like Lyndon Gooch. I mean, I know obviously it's not that American thing again, but
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Class.
I'm going to be getting talked about after this.
You are like. He came on this American chat group and then he started just talking about American players. You didn't have to win us all over, Darren. We all like you, man. It's okay. No worries. You'll still get a Christmas card. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I like Lyndon Gooch.
Yeah.
I think he's a great talent. I think he's got great ability, and I think he's probably stepped up to the mark. I think now as well. With Aidan McGee leaving the club, I think he's kind of come to the forefront now, and I think he's starting to show probably some of his best football. I love Grant Ledbetter. I know obviously he's having difficult times at the moment. But I have a lot of respect for that lad. Probably more and more respect, obviously, with the performance he put in last year, after obviously, unfortunately, the tragedy that, he's gone through. And I have a lot of respect for him. And, So I think those two guys stand out for me. In that squad. Don't get me wrong. There is some good players in the squad, but we need to get that momentum and keep that momentum. But unfortunately, obviously, we did have that going a little bit, and then unfortunately, we've been hit with blooming virus.
Yeah, that's true. We've got a question coming in here from Paulie. How was morale after getting smacked all over the pitch in the first game of the season after promotion against Chelsea? And did the lads hang on? Did the lads think that there were going to be anything other than a relegation battle after that game?
That was a massive shock to the system. I think that was really. I think Chris Lumsden made his debut that day. Unfortunately, didn't have the best of games, and I thought it was a strange one to put him in for his debut. Going to Chelsea, but he done well in pre-season. So fair play. They give him the opportunity. Me and Jody didn't obviously feature in that squad. We were there, and we sat watched the game. It was a difficult one to take, really. I think, if you look back on it, I think you think, wow, this is going to be one hell of a hard season for us. But with Reedy and Sacco, you learn very quickly. And fortunately for me and Geordie, I think we ended up getting back in the side, and things went from there, really.
Yeah. What's your opinion of the current state of the club? And try and keep this PG if you can. If you can.
When the guys first came in, I thought, these guys have got it. They understand what the club is about and what the club needs. And I think they did that to a certain degree. And I think they've maybe reached now where they believe that that's them. That's as far as they can take the club. Yes, we probably do need somebody to come in with a bit of money. So I don't think money resolves everything. I think I don't think it solves every problem throughout the club, but it helps on the pitch. And I think it's a very difficult job as a manager when your hands are tied and you're trying to shift players out and you can't shift them out, and sometimes some players are very reluctant to move because they're earning quite a lot of money. And and in the back of their minds, they're thinking, well, if I don't get paid up to leave, wherever else I'm going to go, I'm going to be on less money. Because if you look at the situation, you're in a situation where you're being relegated twice. As a player, the chances are, if you've been in a team and a squad that's been relegated twice, you ain't going to go higher. Chances are you're going to be in the same division, if not lower. You might get the odd one lucky couple that have produced goods over the years and people see potential in them. However, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up on less money. And let's be honest, there was a lot of players at Sunderland who were on a hell of a lot of money for the division they were playing in. And then as a player, I think me personally, if I was on that type of money and I was at Sunderland and I wasn't featuring and I wasn't in the plans, I'd want to go and pursue my career. I wouldn't want to just sit and train and then pick me, I don't know, 40, 50, 60, 70 grand a week or whatever it is. Because that's not me, I don't do that. I mean? I wasn't about money. I was about playing and I wanted to play. And I think, I think Reedy knew that. I think Sacco knew that. I think everybody who knows me knows that. I never chase money. If you put a contract in front of me, I signed it. It was never and I was never asking for more. And I think, sometimes players can be a bit greedy and think, well, I'm going to get that anyway, regardless. Where, why not take that leap and say, do you know what? Yeah, like I'm not going to feature yet. And I need to pursue my career. It's a short career. I want to play, so I'm going to go. I'm going to leave, and then that's what should have happened. And it probably would have made things different at Sunderland. Because there was a lot of unrest because there was a lot of players there that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah. So you mentioned that about just playing for Sunderland and what have you, and obviously in the modern game, that kind of loyalty to a club, people seldom are modern day players at clubs really for any more than 3 to 4 seasons. So you were at Sunderland for a long time. What was it that kept you playing at the club and not wanting to look to go anywhere else? Was there some draw that was a constant throughout?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of taken in by the fans. The fans were kind of accepted me as like one of their own type of thing. Because obviously I joined the club like quite when I was quite young. obviously like 18, 19-year-old. So because I was there at that age, I felt like I'd kind of come through the system, and I think the fans kind of felt like that. And obviously, being accepted by the fans, and obviously, yeah, don't get me wrong, there was games where you get abused and you get that people wouldn't be happy with you, but you got to take that on the chin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But majority of the times, it was all good, and obviously being under Reedy and Sacco at the time was fantastic as well. But obviously they went, and for me, regardless of who come in, I still wanted to be at the club anyway. Under Howard Wilkinson, I hated it. I
Yeah.
couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand him, but I loved the club.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be at the club, and I wanted to play for the club, which is why I wasn't looking to leave.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I've got a question here from Mark Langley down in Miami, Florida. Obviously, some of the players, he's specifically interested in the best defender that you've played with at the club as well. I think about some of the players that you played alongside, or certainly in the squad, or had the likes of Tom that we mentioned, Steve Bold, obviously Jody. Who is the best defender that you played alongside? Oh, you played.
I mean, obviously, like we can go back over. Obviously, like me and Jody had that great connection,
Mhm.
and we played well. We probably complemented each other in our styles of play. Um, But I think you look back at Steve Bold had massive experience, vast experience of back at, from his Arsenal days. He was very switched on. He was very clever. He could read the game extremely well. And I think he kind of probably helped us along the way a little bit as well. From a defensive point of view, giving us information and tips and and talking about stuff in situations and scenarios that you could be in the game. And I think you take all that on board because you have such respect for the guy because he's played at the top level for years and he's done extremely well.
Excellent. Miriam's asking if you can give me any tips for me beard. Um, he's such a shit. So, he did ask a serious question. Did you use an agent as a player, and do you think they are a problem in the modern game?
Yeah, I don't really like agents.
Yeah. Well, I know that you had to deal with him as a
Yeah,
manager too, right? So.
yeah, true. I mean, for me, when I did go to Cardiff, obviously it was the initial thing was between Mick McCarthy and Lenny Lawrence. That was the agreement that I would go there on loan and get some games, which I didn't want to go, but unfortunately the club were in financial difficulty. Even though I'd said to the guys at the club that I would take a 50% pay cut to stay at the club, I'd be happy to do that. Obviously, unfortunately, I had to go. And then whilst I was there, I got a phone call from Peter Taylor. He wanted me to go to Hull. I mean, I think Hull were League One at the time, but he was offering me like the same money I was on at Sunderland, if not a little bit more, a signing on fee, etc. The package as a whole was a 3.5 year deal, and it was a fantastic package. And I said to him, yeah, I said, I'd love that. I'd be ready because I'd been with him under 21s in England B, so I knew him well and he knew me well. And Adam Pearson was the chairman at the time, and I had the agent, unfortunately. So I said to him, I will have to kind of pass this on to the agent because obviously I am signed to him. And this is what obviously I, legally have to do. So talks between me and obviously Peter Taylor and everything were fine because obviously Mick McCarthy had said that it was okay for us to speak to each other, and they were all going really really well. And I remember we were on the way to play QPR for Cardiff, and I just thought, yeah, it's gone really quiet. Like with Hull, and I thought seems strange. So anyway, so I happened to drop Peter Taylor a text at the time and just said, "Oh, look, how's everything?" And he didn't reply. So I thought it was strange because, like, say we got on really well, but then Adam Pearson, the chairman, rang me and he said, "Oh, Darren," he said, "Peter's not too happy." I went, "What about?" He went, "About what you've said." I haven't said anything. He went, "Well, you have." I said, "I haven't." I said, "I haven't said anything." I said, "I spoke to you." I said, "I've mentioned it to my agent." He went, "Oh, well," he said, "Peter's had your agent on, turned around saying that you've said to him that it's embarrassing money and that you wouldn't dare go there for that type of money. And it's very disrespectful to offer me that money." I was like, "You what?" I went, "Surely to God." I went, "You no, I would not say anything like that. Even if the money was terrible, I wouldn't say that. I'm not the type of person who would broadcast that and say stuff like that. And he turned around and said, "Oh, well, I'm not too sure." He said, "But that's what Peter's done." He said, "So I believe he's gone for somebody else." So at that time, obviously, that deal completely broke down. So I was only left with signing for Cardiff to the end of the season with an option year. And when I came to the end of the season and the option year was going to kick, they were going to kick the option year in, they wanted me to go on half of what I was on. And I was like, well no, that's not the deal. Like, that's not what we said. So all that being, like, I obviously had signed for Cardiff till the end of the season, and I was sat in the office, and the agent rang me, and he said to me, he said, "You owe me some money." I went, "What for?" He went, "For going to Cardiff." I went, "You had nothing to do with the deal for me going to Cardiff." He went, I said, "It was between Mick McCarthy and Lenny Lawrence." I went, "And the deal's been done." I said, "He went, "Yeah, but you owe me money." I went, "No, I don't." I went, "You've already been paid off Cardiff." He went, "No, I haven't." I went, "Well, that's funny." I said, "Because I'm looking at a sheet of paper in front of me now, a contract that you signed and the secretary signed, saying that you've got 10 grand for 6 months' work." I went, "And you've been paid off Sunderland as well, and now you want to charge me money?" And he tried to take me. He got a solicitor on, but he got Mel Steen, who was Gaz's agent years ago, and Mel got in touch with me, and like Mel was like, "Oh, Daz, I've got this letter off your agent. I need to take it now." And I told him the story, Mel, and Mel just said, "No, Daz, I'm not even going to take it up," and just put the phone down. Because he knew it was embarrassing, and he knew that what he'd done, and for me going on a 6-month deal, he ruined the 3.5-year contract for me, which at the time, towards the end of that contract, Hull were in the Premier League, so it kind of like just had a massive effect of it, and that's obviously, why I'm not too particularly keen on a lot of agents. Not all, some are okay, but majority of agents are just what they can get for themselves, really.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. So go back as being a player. What's the best advice you were ever given as a player?
Say that again, mate. Sorry, I lost you.
What was the best advice you were ever given as a player?
The best advice I was ever given as a player was probably stay out the way of Barley on a Friday. Honestly, we'd have a practice game on a Friday, and normally a practice game is a shadow game where we run through the how we're going to play and how we're going to set up, and you as the opposing team would shadow obviously the first team. So like if you're in the reserves, you would shadow the first team just around the pitch and just let them knock the ball out. No. Wally doesn't do that. Wally goes and leathers you. No, I think the best advice I had was stay humble, stay true to yourself, and don't get carried away in what a lot of players nowadays get carried away with, the money side of things and the lifestyle. Enjoy it while you can. Because it is such a short career.
What was so go back to your playing days. What was your favourite chant or song that you'd ever heard? So it doesn't have to be a Sunderland one, but what's your favourite song you've heard from the stands?
I mean, the Darren Quinn Disco Pants one used to be every game, didn't it? You couldn't get through a game without that coming out. I mean, that was fantastic. I mean, the first time I heard it, I was laughing my backside off. Do you know what I mean? But obviously the Alan Shearer ones is a good one, but obviously Alan won't like that. But whether he's illegitimate or not. and then like Big Lee Howie, Big Lee Howie song, like with Steve. I mean, I sometimes I do the radio for you with Steve. We do the talking during the week, and I'm sat next to him. But then I'll have been talking to Lee on the Saturday night at the Sunderland game, and I'm thinking, I can't, because it's not rocket science. They don't like each other, they don't get on. But yeah, I think Big Lee might have started that song actually.
He probably did. I've read his book. Hang on, you were mentioning before. How many times do you get a mention in Steve Cottrell's book? That was from Paulie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never read it.
Well, I heard that you can't read, so you're from Middlesbrough. Yeah,
no, I'm all about the pictures.
I said to the lads, being from Bury, with you having webbed hands, it's actually very difficult to turn the pages. So just saying, like,
I'm good at climbing walls, though.
Aye, see you out. Another question. Other than Sunderland, which other club have you enjoyed or loved playing at? Which other club, except for outside of Sunderland, have you enjoyed really playing for?
Oh, do you know what? I'm not sure actually. No, no. Do you know what? It's hard to put. It's hard to put, and I'm not just saying this obviously now, but it's hard to put like something alongside like playing for Sunderland because obviously I loved it that much. I'd probably say, like I'd probably say somewhere like Hartlepool.
Yeah.
Hartlepool because I think that it was a kind of a lot of kind of ex-Sunderland lads went there.
Mm-hmm.
So and they were like obviously we were all good mates and we used to have a bit obviously a good laugh and that and and obviously it was on my doorstep as well, so it was fantastic.
There's a request from Paulie for you to sing the Lee Howie song. Just remember, people can watch this back after it's done. It's live, but you can watch it back afterwards as well. So it's up to you. But apparently Lee Howie sang it in Toronto. Apparently, I wasn't there, but I heard he did sing it. Apparently, he did. Yeah. I don't know. There's another question. Where did Steve Cotterill get his sweets from? Apparently used to eat a lot of sweets. No. Anyway, sorry.
He did actually.
Hold on. I've got some other.
Honestly.
He did?
He was like Tigger on Wiz.
Tigger on Wiz. Good Lord.
What? Honestly, mate, I swear, no word of a lie, right? I swear to God, like, Howard Wilkinson used to do a team talk, like, and you'd be half asleep. I swear to God, because he was just so mundane and so boring.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, Steve Cotterill would just bounce out of the toilet or something, and he'd be just like, right, lads, and you'd just be like, whoa, hang on a second, like, whoa, do you know what's he been doing in there? And it was just crazy. It was just, honestly, it was just like completely different ends of the spectrum, them two. Completely.
That's class.
It was crazy. I mean, Howard Wilkinson put a video on, going back to his obviously coaching methods. He put a video on one time in the dressing room at Charlie Early, and he said, "Right, lads, sit down. We're going to watch the best team in the world. Who do you think it is?" We were all like, "Oh, I don't know, Barcelona, Real Madrid, obviously Man United were brilliant at the time, Liverpool." No, put it in. Like, what's that? Like, birds. He said, "Watch the fly in a V shape." He was like, "What?" He went, "Yeah." He went, "Watch." He went, "When the front one gets tired," he went, "someone else will take over." He went, "Best team in the world." We were like, "Wow, really?" Absolutely, honestly, mate. You can't. I don't even know where you got the video from. Where would you get a video of the birds flying?
Unbelievable, man. So I do have a question. Were you at the trip away when Mickey Grade said something to Reed?
Yeah, in Marbella.
You want to tell people about that?
Yeah, we obviously we were away, so we were like so it was like we trained a couple of days, but it wasn't a training camp type of thing. It was a breakaway for the lads. So obviously Reedy used to love to go to Marbella. So anyway, so we've gone out. We were out on the drink all day long. So we're walking across to the front of Marbella, and on the end is a place called Sonatas. I mean, if you've been there, you'll know. So pub right in the corner. Everyone goes there. So we're walking along. Mickey Gray's a little bit worse for wear. We're kind of like carrying him along. And we get to this bar, and Reedy's in there with Sacco and everyone. So it's absolutely rammed, but Mickey weaves his way to the kind of the front of the bar. So Mickey's trying to get served, but obviously this barmaid's just completely ignoring him. So he's gone, "Hey, oh," like that. So this barmaid's like, looked over and he's gone, "Do you know who I am?" And she went, you're that so-and-so that missed the penalty." So you're like, obviously, like, burst out laughing. Honestly, we're absolute stitches, like. But then Reedy's across the bar, so Reedy shouted over, "Oh, Mickey, just pipe down a little bit." So, like, Mickey's looked over and he's gone, "Oh, it's Monkey's Heed." He's gone, "Peter Reed's got a monkey's heed." And we're all like, wow. So Paulie's grabbed hold of Mickey. He's gone, "Mickey, come on, man, you need to chill out." He's going, "Oh, monkey's heed," like that. Like, he proper lost it. Like, he's obviously screaming. So the next night, it's our last night. The next night, so we're at the hotel, so Reedy's going, look, lads, we booked the table. This lovely restaurant. It's up on the top. He said, we're going to go there as a squad, as a team staff. He said, we're going to have a right, lovely meal, we'll have a good drink, and then we'll get on the bus, come back to the hotel, and then we'll be flying back tomorrow. So anyway, so we're all going out in that class. So anyway, people ordering champagnes and like steaks and all sorts, like proper. Reedy's like, oh, I'll have another magnum of champagne. Like, so like drinks are flowing. So we're like, oh, yeah, it's class. This, like, we're having such a good time, great laugh. So at the end, like, Reedy stands up. He's going, right, Nick, can you all chip in for a tip for the waiters and waitresses? So anyway, so we all did. So anyway, so he said to the waitress, he went, oh, can you bring the bill over, please? So anyway, so he brought the bill over, put it on the table like that. So Reedy's gone, look, lads, it's been a fantastic night. Like, great. You know, we've all had a good drink. We've all had a good meal. He said, now, you know, we'll get back on the bus now, head back to the hotel. So we all stood up. Mickey Gray stood up. He went, what are you doing? Mickey's gone, well, we're going, aren't we? He went, no. He went, you're paying the bill. He went, who's got a monkey seed now, eh?
Class and thoroughly deserved. So that's brilliant, man.
It cost Mickey about $5,000.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus, I'm saying out. I think we're going to probably wrap it up a bit down so you can get on with your painting. He hasn't been painting like Jody. He's been decorating. He's been decorating like that. But no, again, on behalf of the Sons of Liberty and obviously Sunderland supporters worldwide, I just want to thank you for your time. Always a pleasure talking to you. Always good crack. So please take care of yourself and the family, obviously. Everybody else, stay safe, stay healthy. I hope we all get through this difficult time together. But again, Darren, obviously, when we posted that you were going to be available for talking today, it really lifted our spirits to know that, you know, that we still keep the connection and even just keep the crack going as well, which is great. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Definitely.
All right, mate. Well, my dad wants to know what you're having for tea.
Lasagna tonight.
Lasagna. And have you got enough beers in because he's coming round? He'll keep 2 meters away from you.
I'll go to the shop. It's all right.
Yeah, you might have to. You might have to.
It's essentials now. It's essentials.
Apparently. But honestly, mate, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You take care.
No problem.
Right.
Worries, take care.
Cheers, Dan. Ta-ra. Bye. Bye.
Bye.